Blog Talk Radio.
The motherfucking saga continues.
Yo, what's up, world? It's badass thuggin' like I usually do, and you better turn it up, bust some speakers out, cause we off the motherfucking cuff. You dig how we do it? Dog Pound Gangsters 2000 and beyond. Bleh.
What's up with it, y'all? Man, don't change that down. This your player partner, the legendary Cocaine. And you tuned in live to Off the Cuff Radio. Better not touch that down. Wigglin'.
Yeah, this is Cassidy, the hustler. And right now, you listening to the Guillotine. Show them the respect they deserve, man. Off the Cut Radio, man. Y'all already know how they doing it, man. I need y'all to stay tuned. They've been doing it for years, so show them the respect they deserve. And you heard it out of bars, mouth. Easy.
Keep it moving like this. Yo, this your boy Rampage. You're not rocking with the best. With Off the Cuff Radio. Classic. History. Fix your face to all you haters. We off the cuff, baby.
What's up, everybody? This your girl, Bonnie Dollars, the Queen of Trap, representing Crenshaw, and you are now tuned in with Off the Cuff Radio. What's up? What's up, y'all? This is Miss Irresistible, giving a shout out to the livest show on Friday nights, Off the Cuff Radio, and I'm live from the 704. Make sure y'all tune in for the blazing hot music.
What it ain't, what it do. It's Chili Chill from that original Lynch Mob. And Off the Cuff Radio, always where it's at on Friday nights. West, y'all.
Yeah. We at episode 614, live and direct in your area. Off the Cuff Radio. I'm your host, King Eric, the media assassin, and this show is sponsored by Cocaine Boy Entertainment, Screwball Radio, which you can check every Saturday night, 9 p.m. Eastern, 6 Pacific, 8 Central Time. Da Vinci Clothing, and I got my host, T-Mass with the facts on the line. What's good?
What's going on, y'all? Another fantastic Friday. The freshest frequency on the internet, y'all see, Off the Cuff Radio. Shout out to our co-host, Sincere, a lot of Fat Man Lation Chiller, and of course, our good friend DJ Sincere of Dirty Basement Radio up in New York. We are cops out and ready to rock. And tonight's guest, this man, his name is his game. He is one of the most prolific MCs with such a distinguished history. His rhyme acumen is incredible, indelible, and outright outstanding in everything he does. King, let everybody know about our very, very, very special guest we've got on the show tonight.
Let me tell you this right here, man. This show right here is going to be probably one of the best interviews we've done out of 614 episodes. This man is a part of the reason why hip-hop is regaining its competitive spirit. Eminem had him as one of his favorites. Lil Wayne had him as one of his favorites. Possibly one of the most consistent and most prolific pound-for-pound best MCs out now. And he's here on Off the Cuff Radio. So I got to give y'all the Vince McMahon voice for this one. Let's all welcome R.J. Payne.
Yeah.
Yo, what's good, fellas?
What's going on with you, man?
That hurt my throat.
Oh, man, life is good, man. I'm over here cooking in the lab right now. What's up with y'all?
Yes,
man.
Yeah, man, I had to do that intro for you and kind of hurt my throat a little bit. But, hey, welcome to the show, bro.
Hey, I appreciate y'all, man. Good looking on the platform.
Man, thank you so much for coming on our platform. RJ, I didn't get to do it, but I actually have that double XL you have as well when you went under your first name, Rain Man. I have every double XL since they started in 19. I got every double XL since 1997, and I believe that was in 2004 when you put that on your page. I have that as well.
Right.
Yeah,
I seen somebody randomly tweet that, and I was bugging when I seen it, and then it bugged me out even more to see the people commenting like, "Yo, I got the issue," and to hear you say it, it's like, damn, okay.
Yeah, it's that is just that mention in the magazine is just a small chapter in your championship history of MCing. You've been doing this for a long time. Your story is incredible from some of the things that we did in the pre-production in terms of researching about you. I mean, you were on Making of the Band too. You were, doing countless, features, meeting people. There's a lot to get to, and we got to get to it. Let's get it.
Yes, sir.
Tell everybody a little bit about yourself, how you started. We got 2 hours. Let's go.
Oh, man. All right, so born in Brooklyn, raised in Long Island and Philadelphia, so I'm kind of a hybrid of all three, Long Island, Philly, and Brooklyn. Came up pretty much inspired by battle rapping. I think the first thing I seen that made me want to rap was House Party. I think when Kid and Play battle, that was my introduction to seeing hip hop on TV. Like I seen it before that, but the battle culture, that was my first time seeing it, and I didn't understand what I was watching, but I knew at that moment that that's what I wanted to do, and that's what gave birth to my hunger to do music right there.
When we look at House Party, RJ, it is shout out to Christopher Mark, shout out to Kid and Play, man, you know what I'm saying, because they are both
big facts.
Dancing, MCing, they came along at a time of where hip hop was fun. House Party, by the Hudlin Brothers, Reginald and Warrington. One of the greatest movies ever that really, really, really resonated with the hip-hop audience. Because it wasn't, of course, the first hip-hop movie, but it was a movie. No. And rest in peace to the late, great Robin Harris, of course. But the movie itself encompassed all the elements of rhyme, dance, and DJing. A comedic setting, of course. Yeah, all the elements. It was special, and to hear you mention that shows how entertainment by us, for us in the culture reflects our experience, our sentiments, and most importantly, articulates our culture in the aspect it needs to be. Thinking about that in terms of when, like you said, that movie inspired you to start rhyming. 1990, the early 1990s was a very, very, very unique time. We saw gangster rap come into prominence. We saw, of course, Hammer, Vanilla Ice, in terms of the pop rap. We saw the different elements of the culture in terms of defined by the music, many different aspects. The movie is what inspired you. Who were some of the artists during that time as well that really, really, really kind of gave you more of a insight as to what you were trying to do?
Okay, so everything was kind of hit or miss after that. Like I was real weird as a kid. Like a lot of the things that people or the artists that people liked when I was younger, I didn't necessarily like. So like people like NWA, stuff like that, I couldn't get into it because it wasn't lyrical enough for me. So it took a minute for me to find the type of hip-hop that would make me continuously want to write. So it would come in spurts. Sometime I would hear something that made me want to write. But when I discovered like Redman, that kind of changed everything. I discovered Redman, Boot Camp Click, Wu-Tang, of course. Those three particularly were my first real introductions into, okay, I'm going to write raps every day now. And, of course, it grew from there to all of our favorites, but those three mainly started me off really wanting to pick my pen up.
Man.
And, one of the main challenges, too, is, when you become inspired, because we came out of a lot of time when you couldn't copy nobody's flow, you couldn't copy nobody's style, lingo, whatever.
Right.
How did you find your identity?
It's funny. I was telling Method Man this, man, and he was bugged out. Like, literally, my first rhymes were terrible. Like I just couldn't figure it out. So what I did was, around the time that 4321 came out, Method Man verse was so incredible to me. I said, all right, I don't know what's making him sound so dope, but I know he sounds better than me. So let me rewrite his rhyme in my words. So I literally rewrote the 4-3-2-1 verse in my own words. It still wasn't super dope, but it gave me the structure of a flow. So at that moment, I think that's when I got it. Like, okay, so now I see how Method Man do it, and then I started doing the same thing with Redman and so on.
And that's a very genius tactic in terms of how you do it, in terms of the bar structure and the cadence, because people have to understand there's a certain line in terms of how you gotta, as we say, catch the beat. You have certain artists like Master Ace. Shout out to Brooklyn's very own as well. He was always one of the, you could say maybe even the originator of the on-beat, off-beat style, or at least made it famous.
Yeah, his style is, he do it flawlessly.
Yeah. And when you talk to Meth, dog, I remember when Wu-Tang first hit. Of course, Protect Your Neck and Method Man dropped in the spring of 1993. The album wouldn't come out until like October, November 1993. But when you started seeing, I mean, RJ, we had never seen up to that point 9 niggas in a group that could rap like that. I mean,
nah. And it was even more foreign to me because I didn't necessarily have the favorites that everybody had. So again, the NWAs and stuff, I knew who they were. But rap groups to me didn't really make sense. I kind of like just sing rappers. But when, like you said, when Wu-Tang came out, I didn't know what to do. I was kind of dumbfounded at that point. Like, yo, this has to be the greatest shit I've ever heard.
Right. And I mean, with Redman, we had heard him prior to on, and my memory is failing me right now in terms of, because a lot of people forget that he was, the real heads know he was on a couple of EPMD albums before his debut dropped, the album in 1992. When we first heard Blow Your Mind, we were blown away. When we heard the album, we were like, this is incredible.
Right.
I remember when we first heard Superman Lover, and we just thought that was like the most, we just thought that was like the most brilliant shit. I mean, Time for Some Action, that was the second video he got off the album. I mean, Red Style was just, it definitely brought that East Coast to prominence. Wu-Tang, Redman, of course, EPMD dropped Business Never Personal in 92 as well. So we're seeing, all of this. And even a couple of years earlier, LL dropped Mama Said Knock You Out. Shout out to Marley Marl doing the whole album. So as you saw it, RJ, when you started to kind of really begin to kind of dig into the minutia, understanding phrasing, word spacing, timing, in addition to the composition, how did that help you really solidify your position in terms of once you really figured it out, how this works in terms of what makes a dope song?
I think I figured that part out later, like much later. I think I spent more than half of the first portion of my MC career really focused on battle rapping and aggression. I didn't really take too much time with the mechanics of being a super dope MC, but I figured that out probably around the time I would say of Big Pun, like right as Big L passed away and those guys like Big Pun started coming into the game. That's when I started understanding syllables. And it was like, so now I don't just, it's not about my aggression. It's about rapping in between the lines. And you got to now have a kind of you can kind of have a sing-songy flow and patterns and pockets. Like at that moment, it kind of I went crazy listening to Pun's first album. So I think Pun's album was the introduction to me understanding syllable rap.
And I mean, even before then, when we heard Pun on Jealous One's Envy, with Fat Joe, his second album. I mean,
Pun was
God.
Real talk, guys, I say this. Pun was the complete package. Pun was like the complete package
100%.
because the guy was like, he could make the chick songs. that you couldn't even, that didn't sound corny. He could lyrically blow your head off. He could come with the crazy syllables and metaphors. Like that whole Capital Punishment album was like a whole complete, that's the complete album right there.
Yeah, that's a masterpiece. I don't think it's too many albums better than that. That's a masterpiece.
We knew Pun was different when this nigga went bar for bar, toe-to-toe with Black Thought on Super Lyrical to open it up. We were like, are you kidding me?
Hey, yo, peace, Roots. Yo, listen, when I heard Black Thought, I mean, we knew he killed it, but then when I think I was reading the source, and I think I seen Black Thought say Big Pun was one of his favorite rappers, and being at that age, as a young kid, whatever your favorite rapper said was like law. So at that moment, I was like, okay, Black Thought said that's one of his favorite rappers. Let me go do my homework and see why. And the more I dug into Big Pun's music, I was like, yo, lyrically, at that moment, he might have been the greatest on the planet.
Yeah, I mean, but even then, for those who really had their ears open in '95 when Jealous Ones Envy dropped, on Watch Out, Pun, because we had seen, actually, we hadn't seen him per se. When we saw LL's I Shot Ya off the Mr. Smith album, and they did they did the group shot. They did the group shot with Joe and Pun was in it. It's like, who this big Puerto Rican nigga in the background and shit, and we couldn't make the correlation just yet.
Right. I didn't either. You right.
Yeah. But, I mean, if you were from the Bronx, you knew who he was. And, of course, this is the age before social media. This is where the source, of course, Word Up, Right On. Double XL didn't come until 1997. So the source was primarily where we really got our hip-hop information.
Exactly.
So that was a situation where some of these dope artists we heard on albums. I'm going to give you another example, So What You're Saying with South Central Cartel, that whole posse cut the Murder Squad off the show soundtrack in 1995. Going off the cuff because we love the people. A lot of people thought that was Law with that girl on the last track. It was not. Her name was Shaquilla, and she was from the Bay.
Damn.
But a lot of people, and she said it. And when you listen to her from the first 3 lines of her verse, where she mentions her name, we didn't catch it because we didn't know who it was. It was unfamiliar, So there was a lot of artists we heard at a particular point that we didn't know who they were, but we knew a hard ass rhyme when we heard it.
Big facts. I agree.
So when you came in, RJ, you really began. I mean, Pun, obviously, we knew about Black Thought and the Roots years before. At least a couple years before, because their debut came out in '93. So they were in their 2 years into their career. Because Do You Want More came out in '94. So it already, and this was a year before in '95 before they dropped Illadelph Half-Life in '96. So I mean, they were already kind of in the game. So we're seeing all of these. All of these come in between each other in terms of connecting. As you started to rhyme and really develop it, what did you find about getting on the battle circuit in terms of how it worked? We want to dive more into that and some of the celebrations and the criticisms of battle rap in terms of how it does not necessarily, for some fields, translate into making great songs. But we want to get your story first of what happened as you did your deeper dive into that foray. Go ahead, please.
Okay, so the first half of that is, you want me to break down that one more time?
How you started in the foray as you started rhyming and then getting into the battle rap, and then when we can discuss more about how some people feel about a lot of rappers are dope battle rappers, but it doesn't necessarily translate into them being great songwriters.
Now I got you. So, basically, I literally was taking the rhymes that I had that wasn't that good, and I was going to school at this point in Long Island, And I was just whoever was like dope rapping in school, I battled them. Like just literally, yo, you want to battle? And I was getting smoked. When I say I was getting smoked, I was getting smoked. It was bad. It was so bad.
Right.
A few homies of mine used to just tell me like, bro, you whack. Like, yo, you whack, bro. Just stick to basketball, because I was playing basketball. Then it was like, bro, you whack. Just you're a good basketball player. Rap ain't your thing. And I just kept battling, man, to the point that eventually, like I said, reflecting on people like Redman, I started figuring out, okay, punchlines get the crowd. Okay, I got it. So this guy got the big chain on. He might look flyer than me, but if I got the punchlines, I could shake the room. And from that point on, when I figured out the punchlines, that's when I got more addicted to Redman's music. Because if you remember, around the time of Muddy Waters, nobody was punchlining like Redman. Right.
Muddy.
So at that point,
right. Mm-hmm. Go ahead.
No, go ahead. Okay, yeah. So at that point, like Muddy.
Yeah.
No, you good.
But go ahead. I'll finish after you go. Go ahead.
All right, I got you. Yeah, so at that point, Muddy Waters was just my kind of my cheat sheet. It was like, okay, so the more wilder punchlines that he had made me kind of get more creative. And next thing I know, I'm winning battles. Next thing I know, my name is ringing bells. And it really just grew from there, just learning the art of punchlines. And that really gave birth to me wanting to make songs and just becoming a better rapper. Punchlines was really all I focused on for more than half of the first half of my career.
Yeah, and Muddy Waters, for a lot of people, they consider that Red. And Red's career has been phenomenal. Muddy Waters, though, for a lot of the fans, King, myself,
his
yourself.
best work.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's his best work.
Muddy Waters is just,
yeah.
He's had great albums before and after that, but Muddy Waters, for a lot of people, Head and Shoulders, was still considered to be the apex of his achievement. That album was just ridiculous.
Yeah, that's a masterpiece.
I mean, me personally,
to me, that's a masterpiece.
Oh yeah, that's a masterpiece. Even though he don't like There's the Dark Side, I don't know, that album kind of like holds dear to my heart in a way. I don't know what it is, because he said that he was like on acid or whatever when he made it.
Yeah.
The nigga rhyme schemes was crazy up there.
True.
Yeah. He did an interview in The Source back in '94 where he talked about the Muddy Waters. I mean, not Muddy Waters. The There's a Dark Side, and he talked about, and it's crazy because when we talk about inspiration, it's like with Prince and the Black Album. Prince was, experimenting, I believe, with I think mushrooms or LSD. He was experimenting with different drugs.
Yes, I remember
that's why he didn't like. Yeah, and that's why he didn't like the Black Album, because he said he even went so far as to call it evil, and because of where it took him.
Okay.
RZA, when he wrote the Wu-Tang Manual, great book for those that haven't picked it up, go get it. RZA talked about how some of the best rhyming on 36 Chambers came because they was loaded up on drugs, whether coke, LSD, mushrooms, whatever.
That's a fact. That's a fact.
Dust. And Red, of course, where There's a Dark Side. He was on the LSD, mushrooms, and he said he talked about how he was having like a bad dream, and he was like, how can I make it stop? And he's like, God, Red could only say this. God was like, God was coming in and saying, stop doing the fucking drugs.
That makes sense. I get it.
That's what I miss about those albums, man. See, those albums told a story, but it also took you on a comedic ride. It took you on a thrill ride as well, because you never know with the skits, the story, everything had a story in it, and that's why when we listen to your music, it has like a story to it, man. Because when we got tuned with the Leatherface series, I was like, God dang, this the dough right here.
Appreciate that, man.
Yeah, that's by the cover. Because see, people don't realize when you put out the artwork, that's eye-grabbing right there, because that's when I first really got introduced to you with the Leatherface series. And I was like, This is wow.
That's good to hear, and that's kind of when I figured out the power of covers and marketing through covers. So you're right, I feel you.
When you as you progressed and you navigated everything in terms of all of this, RJ, in terms of we've gotten influences, we've gotten the rhyme scheme down, we've gotten into the battle rap, and so now we actually get into when you're really getting. Hello, RJ, you there?
Yeah. Yes, sir.
Okay. Yeah. So now we're getting into the place about once you really start moving and your name starts ringing bells, because we want to do this as in-depth as possible from beginning to end, well, really beginning to present now. Tell us about when you started, after you started moving in, because like King said, the Leatherface series is brilliant. Of course, we're going to get to your Murder in 60 Seconds series that you started doing as well. I mean, there's a lot. Tell us about what did you find in terms of during this time period when you really begin to start moving in these circles and hobnobbing with a lot of industry heavyweights?
Oh, okay. So we're going to take a little jump. Okay, so so at that point, so you do know that's way separate. Like, I retired as Rain Man and stopped rapping, and then the celebrity thing is RJ Payne. So you want to know about what it was like as the RJ moving into the RJ Payne thing, if I'm correct.
Yeah, it's the Rain Man moving into RJ Payne. Yeah. The shift.
Okay. Well, at that time, coming from battle rapping and pretty much a lot of us in that battle rapping era, me, guys like Reed Dollars, even guys like Loaded Lux, Murder Mook, all of us at some point kind of started feeling like, where does it go from here? Because if you remember, battle rapping wasn't like it was on Smack or anything. It kind of was just some guys on DVD standing in front of each other, and it didn't go no further. A lot of us wasn't able to make it transfer into music. So for me, it kind of just got repetitive and boring. It kind of just got to a point where it was like, okay, I guess I'm eventually got to just get a job. Probably going to have to be a regular guy. Battle rapping has been cool, but I don't really see me blowing up right now as a battle rapper. So make a long story short, I eventually got so tired of rapping that I knew, okay, if I get this job now, people know me as Rain Man, battle rapping and all of that stuff. So I can't really be at a McDonald's at the cash register. That's going to look kind of awkward. So I went down south, and probably after about a year down south, I just started feeling like, all right, I miss hip-hop. What do I need to do to get back in the feeling of rapping again? And basically, I just got my homie to pick me up after work. We would sit in the car, light up something, he'd put on a beat, and I start rapping. And one day we just put on the camera, and we just captured it, man, and put it on Instagram. I wasn't looking for nothing. I didn't even understand algorithms. I just knew, okay, this is going to just give me my fix of hip-hop once again. And next thing I knew, man, it just started taking off a little at a time through Instagram, just rapping in the car every day after work, rapping in the car. And then one day I caught Lord Jamal's attention, and that kind of gave birth to the celebrity world and people finding out about me because he ended up posting one of the videos, and it went viral. Less than 24 hours, everybody from Pete Rock to Missy Elliott to Busta Rhymes knew who I was literally within 24 hours.
Wow. Shout out to Lord Jamal. Had the pleasure to meet him a few years ago. Good dude. When you look at it, because one thing about it, RJ, the presence you have is so genuine. The stories you tell us are from the heart. And when you speak on the elements of battle rap, and as you said in that culture, of course, for a lot of the heads who really remember it, Supernatural had his song Buddha Blessed It. But a lot of people said with that was a cautionary tale because Supernat was a dope artist, but it didn't necessarily translate into what a lot of people felt as him writing great songs, which is going back to correlating to what you said, about how the battle rap circuit, because you all were coming along at a time where the battle rap was, it was moving, but it hadn't quite hit that nerve yet where it really became like the whole like phenomenon that it, for the time it would be.
Right. It was actually like a curse at a certain point. Like I remember meeting certain celebrities at the battles, and they would kind of tell you like, man, y'all dope, but, too bad y'all just battle rappers. Or they would tell you stuff like, all right, this is dope. Now we're going to the studio to make the music. And it kind of would just get annoying to me. Like, damn, so we're like the entertainment. So we're like the entertainment for you guys. Like, so like when you just want to smoke a blunt and feel, just chill out, you want to hear battle rappers. But then when you go into work in the studio, battle rappers are the last thing on your mind. But that definitely was a part of me not battle rapping anymore.
And that's understandable because people have to understand in the industry, there is such a thing as branding. When you're doing anything, there's a brand, which is how you're identified. And it's either going to be one that carries you or it's going to cripple you. It's going to make you famous or it's going to put you in anonymity. If people feel like you are not evolving past a certain level, then you become extinct.
Very true.
One thing about
Very true.
But one thing is, we can appreciate so much, RJ, is you telling us about that it's not always glamour and glitz. It's not always the cash and the flash. It's sometimes niggas got to do regular shit to work to survive, and you're unabashed and real saying that.
Man, absolutely.
I was going to shoot this to you right here. So going into a battle, like this is what people understand, going into the battle rap realm, like, do you analyze your opponent? Like, what's the techniques that you go into battle? Like, you study your opponent, you analyze, do you do your research? Like, what goes into your mind before entering a lyrical combat?
For me, back then, it was never, and I think for a lot of the battle rappers, it was never personal. So we didn't study opponents because there was no opponent to study. What made it more difficult for us back then was you had to just show up to a different state and stand in front of guys that you never heard of and that never heard of you, and you got to just get busy. So you got to have 100 raps. You got to have 50 rhymes at any time, at a clip, just ready to rap. So for me, it was just, I got to make sure I got more ammo than whoever I'm a battle, and I got to make sure that I got bars that's going to shake the room. I don't care how big his chain is, how much money he got. I just got to shake the room and have more punchlines than this guy, and I'm going to win. That's how I win into every battle.
Yeah. And that was always that's always something when you're going into, like King said, lyrical combat. You know, especially when you're doing it, because today's battle rap are a hybrid. Because a lot of people say every freestyle is just a written rhyme that you haven't put on paper yet. But it's also the spontaneity
that too.
of But it's also the spontaneity of knowing. It's like playing a football game in terms of the strategy of scheming out what your opponent is going to do or how you can shock them out of nowhere.
Right. Which comes into having 20 or having 40 to 50 raps, because if he has rhymes about how much money he got, you need a comeback. If he got rhymes about the way you look, you need a comeback. So you got to have pretty much, like you said, a rap for anything possible that your opponent could say.
Yeah, you guys, it's like wherever he goes on offense, you have to have a defensive scheme to intercept and then redirect whatever he's saying, and then run down like Dion in terms of hitting up with that prance, to the TD, saying, look at me.
Right.
What do artists have to understand in terms of the battle rap culture and just in general about the music industry in terms of getting your name out there, getting in it, getting the attention of people, and then ultimately parlaying that into maybe a profitable profession?
You mean from going from battle rap to the music?
Yeah, or just in general, just getting into the rap game in general and trying to get in. Or the music game in general.
Well, the battle rap side now, I can't really speak to because it's so different. Like, you got these leagues and these guys are under contract. So it's hard for me to tell you what that life is like. But I do know on this side, coming from the underground or getting into the underground like I did, to now being able to pretty much work with all types of people on a regular, like the Busta Rhymes, the Method Mans, the Ice T's, the Bun B's, and now being able to get ready to graduate to the majors, I can tell you a few things. A lot of the first thing that I would tell all artists is go get a job, man. Don't be afraid to go get a job, like before the music, because let's say you are an amazing rapper. The problem you're gonna have now is you have to look like money. You know what I'm saying? You got to be able to get places. You got to be able to handle yourself correctly. So a lot of rappers, especially the dope ones, before anything, they don't want to work nowhere. They think somebody needs to sponsor them, or they need an OT, or they need to sell drugs, or they just need a big record deal. And like I said, the first thing that I would tell people, if you really want to get into this, have a job, have an income, and take this serious. Like I don't care what else you got going on. If you got kids, I don't care what you got going on. You have to devote, I would say, at least a half an hour a day to your craft every day, no matter what happens.
Yeah.
This is before you even think about the business. Now, as far as transferring to getting the name and all of that, everything is based on consistency and marketing. So no matter how good a rapper you are, like we talked about, there's so many dope battle rappers and MCs in general, but they don't make a name for themselves only because they don't know how to market what they're putting out. So what I figured out to help me get my name was early, and I stumbled on it. I just learned through video programs, video editing programs, ways to highlight my bars. So if I'm rapping about a specific punchline, I figured out how to go edit it into a video, and how to, make a caption with just my bars or whatever it is. These creative things made it easier for people to find my music. Because what I figured out is no matter how good you rap, if you're not marketing it the right way, you're just going to be a dope rapper in the hood.
Yeah, because
so I would say that.
Go ahead. I was going to say it's also, too, not only just rap, but also finding dope concepts that's going to gravitate new audiences. Like, for example, we didn't know you was like a pure wrestling fan either, because you had the Undertaker versus Kane joint. So that right there drew the wrestling crowd. Now, they just had WrestleMania, man. Like, who was some of your favorites? Like, you had to be a fan of this.
Oh, you talking about that back in the day? Well, I'm more of a fan of the back in the day wrestling. Like now, I can't tell you again. Like I'm a super 90s head, 80s, 90s head. So wrestling wise, you talk about, man, Sting, Ultimate Warrior, Texas Tornado, like it's so many people.
Dusty
Jake
Rhodes.
the Snake, yeah, right. Dusty Rhodes, bro. It's all of the classic guys. Coco Beware, Junkyard Dog. That's what I grew up on. So I try to, like you were saying, I try to incorporate anything that I know from my childhood, that I know other people or is nostalgic to other people. I just try to find a way to make it all connect, from the artwork to my bars to the beats. I just try to make everything kind of like, oh, okay, not only is it a wrestling joint, it sounds like this could be played in a wrestling joint. Okay, the way he's rapping is dirty, it's grimy. It's basically just a full package. Like you were saying about the Big Pun album. If Big Pun was just a great rapper, it wouldn't have mattered. But they made that album marketed so well, like you said, it made him the complete package. By the time you heard Pun's album, he was the complete rapper. And I think that's what you got to do. Go ahead.
Oh yeah, absolutely. One thing about it, you understood, like you said, RJ, about how to really highlight your bars. When we look at the shows we came up on, Video Music Box, Rap City, Yo MTV Rap, how important was it then in terms of that nascent era of artists having dope video presentations that were essentially a sonic visual job interview to the prospective audience to let them know they're getting it?
That was everything. Growing up, it was a lot of artists when I was growing up that I might not have even liked or cared about until I saw that video. So I think that was a big reason that BET and MTV became all music video channels at one point, because videos were everything. And it goes back to, like I just said, even if you heard a song that you wasn't crazy about, you might see the video and become a fan of the artist. Unlike now, where music videos are almost extinct, and it's all about mastering 60-second videos now. It's like you can have a music video, but if you can't trim it down to market it on social media, nobody's even gonna go check for it. Because how many people nowadays have the sit still long enough to watch a 3-minute video nowadays?
I'm raising my hand. I'm me. That's me. But we come from a different generation, though, because we actually, we actually grew up on that. Me and my brother King, it's like and yourself, we come from the generation where we read, we watched videos. We don't want to come off sounding like the quote unquote angry old men of the hip hop, but it's like we understood in that element of the time what it meant to get a song out, to get a video, to get an album out. So if you jump through those three quests to get there, you did something. Even if you didn't have the greatest song, you at least managed to pull off something that maybe people thought that you couldn't.
Right.
And I think that for us, what you said resonates so much about what you said in terms of your rhyming, in terms of nostalgia, because of how it begins to reach and how it brings back those memories, because a lot of the greatest music is based on how people relate to it.
Right. Everything is feeling based.
Yes, it's feeling based. It's about how it's the sensation they feel, and most importantly, they relate to that person from this person sees it. It's an innate and intangible element of how it brings it together in terms of this person understands me. And at the end of the day, for a lot of artists, number one, they want to get heard, but two, the audience wants to feel like the artist hears them and echoes their
True. And that's one of the things, that's funny that you say that, because that's one of the things, once I learned how to, interact with my fans through social media, and if they said, yo, why don't you rap to a particular beat, I might do it the next week. If they say, why don't you work with a particular artist, I might do it that following month. And I would see how it instantly would make my plays bigger. They would give me way more traction by just listening to what the people want.
One of the greatest, most influential, and a good friend of mine, rest in peace, DJ K. Slay. You and him, you and him, cross paths in terms of you doing some work for him. Tell us how that happened, and what was the wisdom that he bestowed to you?
That was my OG, man. Rest in peace to K. Slay. So, rapping on Instagram. Matter of fact, the legendary DJ Doo-Wop. He came across my music, and right. So he became a fan through social media, and I would always just send him whatever I'm working on. So one day he was just like, yo, I got to make sure people hear you, man. And he just became another legend in a long line of legends that helped me get to where I am now. And he was like, yo, I'm going to hit some people up. So right then he posted the video, tag K. Slay, and literally put in the caption, Slay, I never asked you for anything as long as we've known each other, but listen to this kid. Just listen to him for me. That's what he asked me to do, and probably within 2 to 3 hours, I got a DM from K. Slay like, yo, you fire. He reposted the video. He invited me to the station. Next thing I know, I'm at the station rapping in a cypher. It Shade 4-5. It was like, that blew my mind, because, I'm going from working at a 9 to 5 down south to back up north to on K. Slay on Shade 4-5. So I killed the cypher. He stayed in touch. He would just let me know, like, look, I rock with you. Just stay consistent, and I'm going to always throw you a bone when I can. So the next thing I know, he was working on, I forgot what project it was, and he put me on a joint with me, Vado, I think Styles P, Chic Luch, and that's when I was like,
that the Rolling 50 beat?
No, this was, I think it's called Back to Bars. Yeah, it's called Back to Bars.
I got to go back because I have all of his albums, so I do have to go back.
Yeah, so Back to Bars was the first joint that he put me on. Like I said, that was me, Sheik Luch, Styles P, Vado, and I can't remember who else. And then it was 50, it was the 50 Deep. And from there, we just kept working. He just kept bringing me up to the station. I got him to host a few projects. And really, he didn't just drop a particular gem on me. He just kept letting me know, like, yo, listen, a lot of people were talking about you. If you stay consistent, you're going to win. And if you stay consistent, I'm going to stay in your corner. And that's exactly what he did. Same thing with people like Lord Jamar. They didn't really give me no big speech on what they was going to do. Jamar actually told me, I'm not really trying to manage you. I'm not trying to do anything for you other than share your video. So take what I do for you and run with it. So, I appreciate them type of guys, man.
And you know it's wild too, man. And you know what? And we also living at a time where now the cosign is really becoming a big deal once again, because the cosign used to be, it kind of got diluted in the later on because people were just cosigning people just so they could get a bag. But now it seems like the cosign is really meaning something. And what was your reaction when you heard Eminem cosign as one of his favorites?
Yo, it's crazy. At that time, it was coming from a lot of places, just a lot of celebrities just would randomly show me love. People like I'll Be Sure and just the most random people that you would be like, how, Mace. And so one day I'm sitting in the crib, and I got all of this going on. I'm still getting used to the celebrity thing and all of that. And I get a call from my man Paige Kennedy. He's an actor from I think LA. He hit me and was like, yo, Eminem and Lil Wayne is talking about you right now. Random. And I'm like, yeah, all right, whatever. I ain't paying no mind. Man, 5 to 10 minutes later, my social media started going crazy. All of these random people was just atting me like, yo, Eminem said you his favorite. Yo, Wayne said you his favorite. Yo, they love you. Yo, you're fired. And I literally broke down like a baby, man. Like once it computed and I understood, I actually sat down and cried like a little baby, man, for about 5 to 10 minutes. Just really.
Okay. It is okay.
Yeah, because it just hit me like, yo, you just came from quitting rapping. You done changed your name. You're rapping on Instagram randomly. You're running around with celebrities now. Eminem said you his favorite rapper. All of this is within a few months to a year. So it's like I couldn't even understand what was happening. So that's the best explanation for you I can give you is it's just unbelievable. Like I still don't understand how it happened.
God's plan can't be stopped.
Testament of the work, brother. It's a testament of the work you put in, man, because it's the presentation is top notch. Just like how it caught me, like with the Leatherface cover, just like the artwork alone, and then the way you attack the track, it's like you don't sound like a lot of these other cats, yo. It's just different energy, and people gravitate to different energy.
Thank you, man. And it's funny. It's all battle rap energy. Like I'll be bugging off of it now because it's like, damn, this is the same energy that they told me wasn't gonna go nowhere. Like I remember being a battle rapper, and industry people would be like, yo, you're dope, but you gotta calm down. Yo, you dope, but you too aggressive. Yo, you dope, but nobody want to hear them punchlines. And it's like the same things that they told me wouldn't work are now my strong points.
It's funny because people have to understand this. What God gives you as a gift is yours, and the genius that He gives grace with is not meant for everybody to be understood because they're not you. They don't have the thoughts. They don't have the thoughts that you travel with. They don't have the philosophy that defines your footsteps. They don't have the understanding that makes you unique. So you cannot ask someone who is not you to understand you because they can't be you. But what you are is you are one of one. Before you there was none, and after you there will be no other. There can be a duplicate, but there's never going to be the original blueprint copy. And one thing about it is they can't copy. So And your story has such a triumphant turn of victory on that lap of a long marathon, because so many artists, they don't always, we haven't even gotten into how you got into the double XL, because we got to get to that part, but we see so many artists. Shameless plug the double XL and Source once again. I have all of them. I have every Source since 94 and every double XL since they started in 97. So we've seen a lot of artists come and go. You know, and some people we thought that were going to be big, they didn't make it. Some like Jeezy, Gucci, Rick Ross, you know, Chameleonaire, Paul Wall, yourself. You know, you all were in this Show Improved, the Unsigned Hype, and you all made it. But this is a game. But this is a game that will leave battered, bruised, and broken egos and feelings and emotions because, you know, like Benny said of his new record title, everybody can't go. Everybody don't always win.
Yeah, I agree. And it's funny that you say that because I think that's part of why I didn't blow up initially as a battle rapper, because living in Philadelphia, you have to fit into a certain mold being a Philly guy. And I always knew, being as though I'm from Philly and New York, I don't necessarily sound like these guys. So to fit in, a lot of times I would have to kind of rhyme like everybody else. But I always knew this is just going to make me fit in here, but it's not going to make me stand out in the world. So it was like once I finally accepted that, you know what, like you said, everybody can't go. I love my city, but my city might not be where I'm supposed to blow up. And who knew it? I would quit rapping and blow up in New York. So when people heard me as R.J. Payne, most of them just thought R.J. Payne was from New York, had no clue about Rain Man or Philadelphia.
And that's called the second act in show business.
It is. Right. It is.
When you said about, you know, about what you said about it fitting in, the thing is, you're custom made. So you're not supposed to fit in with everybody else because it's for you only. So that is something that people have to understand about this. We're living in a generation now, King and RJ, where everybody wants all the spoils for not necessarily being committed, and the most they're going to do is participate, but not really aspire to be great. But then they want to be rewarded for a participation trophy. I'm like, nah, nigga, you got to get in and battle in order to really reap it, because this is not something that should be a passing interest. If you're going to rap, you're doing the culture a disservice by not giving your best.
It ain't only that, too, man. It's too. And, you know, when this pertains, you can't come in like a gladiator and then wave a white flag. You know, this pertains to the J. Cole. Like, that's just my opinion about it. You know, we talk about battle rap. Like,
we got to get your view on this, RJ. We got to get your view on this.
And you ain't got to answer, but you know,
oh, no. Yeah, that J. Cole thing, man, is so touchy for me because I'm a fan of J. Cole. I appreciate his music. He's a super dope talent, I think. But like you said, coming from the culture that we come from and coming from battle rap, for me, if you choose to indulge in any type of back and forth, you have to take what comes with it. I feel like it's like being a man. If you outside and somebody say something or do something to you, another man, and you choose to pick your hands up and be aggressive, you got to deal with whatever that man does to you in return. That simple. And I feel like Cole violated those terms because you chose to indulge in a battle. You chose to make a diss song. You could have ignored it. You know what I'm saying? He could have just kept doing his thing. But the fact that he chose to make the diss track, that gave a bad taste in my mouth to see the apology. Because I would have felt better if he'd have just said off the bat, hey, man, I'm not with the battling. Shout out to K-Dot. I respect him. All of the same stuff he said in an apology, he could have just waved a white flag early on. But I think the fact that he tried to engage in a battle, it made it feel like, since people didn't like it, since it wasn't regarded as a super dope diss track, I think that's where the apology part came in. That's just how it feels for me.
I bet y'all it is, man.
I think if people really liked it, I think he wouldn't apologize.
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. I said the same thing, because I bet you did. And people would have regarded it as a top 5. We would still be having back and forth right now between these two, but since the internet perception gave him that flat, that anxiety started kicking in on his, the hair started coming up on his back, he's like, man, I ain't built for this, man. I thought I was built for it, but it's a different jungle when you're in that competitive space, because one thing to get on here and rap with your buddies, and okay, you have a better ball than me, but when you're having direct combat, it's a totally different ballpark.
You know,
Which is why I said, if you're not with it, don't act like you are. Just bow out. Just mind your business and, make peaceful music, and that's cool, and we would have all still respected Cole like we have been respecting him. But once you try to put them gloves on, you got to fight now, boy.
Yep, and I think people have to understand this. Now, when we put it into context, we're fans of both of those guys, all of us, and we knew that this was never going to have the implications of any real serious street shit, because that's not the type of guys that they are. We knew it wasn't going to go there. But what you said, RJ,
I don't even like that narrative. I hate that narrative that's being painted.
Right.
He was trying to make sure that nothing else happens. Like, get out of here, man. That's not Biggie and Pop. Like, nobody is going to kill nobody.
Exactly. I'm like, nobody. That's not even what they. Right, they don't even rap about stuff like that. I'm like, nobody is gonna get nobody's house drove up to, and nobody gonna get 80 clips dropped off them like a daycare. That ain't happening.
Right.
Right. But when we think about it,
this ain't Tyson and Holyfield, y'all. This is Jake Paul versus Ryan Garcia. That's all it is.
Right.
And that's something people have to understand. But I think also, when we look at it from a situation of battle rapping, there's also a point where people have to understand this too, that it can get dangerous. And we've seen, a lot of people. We've seen people jump out there, decide, and they just randomly want to stir some shit up. And some people have lost their lives behind saying some things that really their ego got them erased behind it.
Right.
You come from battle rap culture, RJ. You're a man, a black man, a man from the block who understands the politics of how it go down. What do artists have to understand in terms of if there's an issue they have with each other, what it entails and implications of potential problems once they decide to speak another person's name on a song negatively?
I think you got to read the room. For instance, I love the battle. I can't wait for one of these industry guys to say my name. Like, I can't wait for that day. But I also understand. I also understand that there's some guys in the industry that even if they were stupid enough to say my name, certain guys I can't embarrass because they run with a certain element that's going to force me. Right. To have to be back in the street. It's going to force me to have to tool up and run with my guys and, do the stuff that we did before music. So you got to just read the room. If Talib Kweli want to spar with you, do that. But I think if, let's say, Johnny Murder from down the block in the projects want to battle, you might want to rethink that because he might not take an L. He might not take that too well. You see what I'm saying?
Man, look, they're going to, I remember,
It's like it all depends on the individual that's involved. Like if you have guys that base their reputation off being street guys, 9 times out of 10 is gonna go there. Like you got guys like Lil Durk and NBA Youngboy, and somebody need a Farrakhan in that situation.
Yeah, they clearly are gonna take it somewhere else. They're not trying to be lyrical.
I mean, look. We can say this, and we're not saying this to try to put nobody out there, but the situation with Game and Lil Durk, when they had that little back and forth, and Durk pulled up in L.A. with 30 of his guys.
You see what I'm saying? That's what I mean by reading. You got to read the room. That's what I mean. Read the room. If Little Durk was to say R.J. Payne's name for whatever reason, I'm not about to make a Little Durk rap because that's going to go somewhere else. You see what I'm saying? If we got a problem, I'm going to address it. Like man to man, not on the microphone.
Right. But see, the thing is, and see, people have to understand, when we look at the entertainment game, we got guys like Conway. Shout out to Griselda, him, Benny, Westside, Armani Caesar, De Niro, City Boy, the whole crew. And Conway spit on the track. He said, "You say my name on a record, I wish you best of luck. I send a 6 to your studio session, wet it up." I'm like,
yeah,
them Buffalo boys is not playing, and people,
it's all right. It reminds me of Philadelphia. That's one of the reasons that I left Philly, because being a guy that lived in Philly so long, that's the mentality of Philadelphia is, especially with hip-hop. If anybody say anybody's name, more than likely nobody's going to battle you. They're going to shoot you. And it's not like a maybe. Like, it's known. If you say the wrong person's name in Philadelphia hip-hop, they're not going to battle you. And I think it's the same way with Buffalo and a lot of them cities. So, again, you got to read the room properly before you address any of these guys.
And people have to understand that, too. Yeah. Go ahead, King. Go ahead.
I'm thinking what it is, man. I think people also took on the 50 Cent How to Rob mantra, because they say how it worked out for him, but people don't know. They get caught a lot of hell for that.
Man, look.
Right.
And
you know what's funny about what you just said? They don't even realize that 50 Cent got a $1 million record deal to protect his life while he was popping his shit. He wasn't just doing that as a broke rapper. Like, he had bulletproof vehicles. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. When people, when we look at the history of it, this is a thing going back 20 years when we look at the whole story. So we got to, on Off the Cuff, we always want our listeners to have the historical understanding and context, because for those that know, they know the situation with him and Supreme. We're not going to get into that on air. That's something totally different. Situation with him and Ja Rule really was from a misunderstanding in terms of what Ja, because we can say this on air because it really happened and nobody disputes it. Ja got mad at 50 because 50 was with one of the guys that punched Ja in the face and stole his chain. This is everybody.
I remember that.
Everybody knows this is what happened, but it's spun into another situation. Of course, I believe this is before 50 got shot, and this was something that we didn't really understand it from a level, because for at the time we did not understand the whole story. He did a story in XXL later on where he would tell the whole tale of what went down. And, of course, in Don Diva, he spoke on it as well, where he said the nigga that shot me is dead and the nigga that had me shot is in jail. But 50, he made such a buzz in terms of it. I'm like, I'd ask anybody, now y'all got to think, this nigga got shot 9 times in terms of getting to where he was. This dude was laid up for like 6 months. I'm like, do y'all really want to go through what he went through to get to where he did?
Got blackballed.
Hell no.
And like he just said, and got blackballed. Columbia dropped him after he got shot. You know what I'm saying?
Like
nobody.
Like you said earlier, that's God's plan, because technically he was done. Like that was definitely divine intervention to go from the hospital bed to Dr. Dre and Eminem. Like, that shit don't happen often. So for rappers to think that they can do that and have the same outcome, that's stupidity at this point.
But I tell you though, when you look at the mixtape run of the early 2000s, shout out to DJ Woo Kid. I got to meet him some years ago. Really good guy. When they did, when him and DJ Woo Kid did the 50 Cent is the Future mixtape, oh my God, that thing was everywhere. Man,
that was my introduction to 50. It's funny that you say that.
Mm-hmm.
So guess who's back?
50 Cent is the Future. 50 Cent is the Future.
Oh yeah,
the joint he did with DJ, the joint he did with DJ Woo Kid, and I got it from a man's back in the day at the mall when he had his mixtape spot. I listened to that joint. I was like, this is amazing. I'm like, and then you figure what, about a month, 2 months later, Dre and 50, you know.
Signed him,
I mean, Dre and M gave him, you know, Dre gave him a $500,000 and M gave him $500,000, you know, in a recording contract. Yeah, the rest is history. The album came out in April of 2003.
Yeah.
Which brings me to which brings what's going on too, man, with people that fuck with you, man. Like, we heard that you signed your first major deal. Congratulations to that.
Hold up, say that one more time. Your phone cut out.
Yeah, I was saying, you said you signed your first official deal?
Well, it's coming. You know, we got the announcement soon. I can't say it just yet. We getting the paperwork together. So as soon as it's signed all the way, we're gonna let you know. But we already, you know, it's locked in already. We just finishing it up.
Hey man, if we just say this, if you signed to the new Death Row, get us some Death Row chain.
Hey, man, one thing for sure, two things for certain. I didn't wait this long to sign a 360 deal. Actually, the deal that I'm working on right now that we closing is something specially tailor-made just for me. It's not like no deal that nobody else has. Something special.
That's what it is. When you look at how you came up and when you were getting your name out, we still got to go back to asking you about how do you feel about hip-hop journalism in terms of artists being in the magazines, because magazines for some would say is not the thing anymore, but you ended up in XXL. Tell us how you ended up getting that feature when you were reigning, because that was huge to even get that.
How did I get that? Oh, you know what? At that point, I was signed to, funny enough, I was signed to a guy by the name of Jimmy Henchman. I know you guys are familiar with that name.
We know that story. We know that story.
Right.
We know about Jimmy.
Right. So when I won the MC, you know, basically I was doing a battle rap thing. I won the MTV rap battle. And they basically gave me $25,000 for winning the battle. And when I won the battle, Jimmy Henchman's his representatives was at the battle. Now, I was probably 23 when this happened, so I didn't know anything about Jimmy Henchman. I didn't know nothing about him and Tupac. I didn't know anything about anything. So we ended up meeting. We hit it off. I didn't know how rich this dude was, so he sat me down. We had a meeting. Next thing I know, I got a big budget. I'm signed to Jimmy Henchman. And one of the first things he did, a part of the rollout, was take me to the XXL. And they did the write-up right on the spot. So that was literally all a part of signing to Jimmy Henchman is how I got into XXL.
Oh, wow. I mean, how important is it to have good management in terms of people who are expeditious and really know how to network to get you in a position to win?
Well, back then, I would say, like, the mixtape era, I would say it was very important. For me, now in this era, it's not as important because anywhere that you've seen me, any celebrity that you see me with, magazine cover, anything like that, that's all through me and my social media and my working. It's about your hustle. It's about how much people see you. I think now it's important to have a manager that manages what you already have going on. People I think don't understand that a manager manages what you have going on. They don't produce it for you. Like a manager don't just wake up in the morning and say, "Hey, bro, you going to MTV tomorrow?" No, MTV has to have an interest in you from the beginning. You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think now it's just about creating your own leverage and putting yourself in position, whereas though it used to be about having a manager that knew a bunch of people and that could get you in the door. It's not really like that now. I think now if you don't have your own traction, anybody could walk you into anywhere, but the first thing they're going to want to know is, what's your traction like? What do you got going on? We know you're in here with this guy, but what are you doing?
And I think also important, too, you got to make sure your manager isn't running his mouth in front of everybody in terms of sabotaging your shit either.
And that's why I said it's better for you to do your moving now at this point. Like, be your mouthpiece, know what you want, know how you want to represent yourself. Other than that, you're definitely going to have a guy around you talking too much in front of the wrong people.
Yeah. Yeah, and that's something that I think artists have to. You know, it's funny because we talk to so many people on air, off air. One thing we hear of the common thread, RJ, is that you know, you can't have necessarily somebody holding your hand in it. You want somebody to guide you, but at the end of the day, like you said, you have to kind of have the direction of what you want to do, and you know, being able to navigate it because you have the vision. You just want somebody to see that vision through with you, but you can't sit back and a lot of times just wait for the shit to happen. You got to get out there.
No, this ain't that era. This ain't that era anymore. Back in the day when we were younger, of course, they would just take a rapper from the street that had a dope 16, and they would give you a career back in the day. Now, nah, man. Like if you go to a label now, they only care about your numbers. Like they really don't care about your relationships with nobody. They just want to know how much music are you selling on your own, and what features can you get on your own. That's all they want to know. So if you're an artist in 2024 and you just want to chill and just rap, you might want to find something else to do.
What is this generation of online rappers in terms of a lot of people just uploading videos have to understand about this process? Because a lot of niggas are just doing shit thinking that they're just going to, they drop a song and they think that they're going to get famous, and then nobody really fucks with it. Where everybody hating this, that, and the other. Run with it like Barry. Go. What do they got to understand about this?
It's funny that you say that because a lot of the guys that have names that you've heard of don't understand one thing. Being seen, being in pictures with celebrities, being at events, none of that has nothing to do with having fans and people that's buying your music. Because at the end of the day, a lot of these guys want to look good. So like you said, uploading the videos, yeah, it looks good. Yeah, you got likes. Yeah, you got some comments. You might have a celebrity or two in the comments, but it still comes back down to how many people are playing your music. That's what we're here for. How many people are buying your music? That's what we're here for. So I think now there's too many artists getting caught up in being seen and getting likes and going viral, because all of that's cool. Because if you notice, a lot of the biggest names aren't really selling music. Like they don't sell a lot of units no more because they're famous. And the bad part about being famous is if you famous for just being seen, nobody will pay you. They just want to look at you. And most of the time, that's for free.
Oh, wow. That's deep. That's deep.
Like for me, I got caught up in that for a while. When I first started buzzing and rapping online, I got addicted to the celebrities and the comments and all of that. And I wasn't putting out music for a while. I just was video, freestyle. And then it just hit me one day like, bro, you can't pay your bills with pictures with celebrities. That's not going to do it. Get out here and put the music out. Focus on the music.
Yeah, because that sometimes it can hit you, man. It can hit you like a rush of dopamine, man, when you getting those looks and everything. But then you got to see how the needs are out of demand of the want. Because it's like, okay, how is this making me income, man?
Right. You look great, but nobody's buying your music.
You know, and we talked about this on the show too, RJ. A lot of times these people, because, you know, me and my bro, we go through some of these pages to see exactly who's really making moves out there. Because a lot of these artists, you know, and I don't want to say artists because I don't want to make it sound like that we're trying to single anybody out on some hater shit. We don't do that at Off the Cuff. But what it is I think that people in general, so a lot of people who want to try to come off of these, like, they say they got 50,000 followers, this, that, and the other, but we'll look at it, and we can spot a dummy account. We know that quick. So we're
man.
And we're like, okay, you got 50,000 followers, but like 49,000 of them are, they're fake.
Right. And you know what? Even with that, it's easy to tell. They don't realize that 50,000 followers, right? And whenever you post something, you got barely 100 comments, it's clear that you got a dummy account.
Right. I mean, it's one thing about it is that when you really have good music, no matter what you do in it, you do what you do. In terms of it, it's like people are really gonna, know what it is.
Right. That's why I said if you focus on the people that buy the music and you focus on selling the music and consistently feeding them people, you're going to go far as an artist. Everything else don't really matter. Everything else just looks good. Being on the radio, freestyling on Shade 45, it looks dope, but you should be focused on the people that's buying your music.
Yeah. And that's important because ultimately, and disclaimer, because we're not saying this to hate on or shit on nobody. We don't do that. But we tell people this is what it is in terms of really knowing how you're making moves. If you claim to have 100,000 followers, but you can't sell out a local venue, then we know the books are cooked.
Right.
Because it has to translate into a perspective of you're actually connecting with people. I'd rather have 2,000 followers that really fuck with me than 200,000 and they're false or they're just there for the fuckery.
Right.
And we're in a generation now where we're seeing people be voluntary crash test dummies out there just for attention. And we're like, do you really want people to see y'all looking like this? I mean, please give us your take on it.
Well, you could just sum that up real easily. Attention is the new currency for dummies. Period. Like, if you're not that smart, if you're not that bright, having people look at you will become all you want. And that's not prosperous. You can't win with attention. Attention is cool, but that's not going to, again, it's not going to make people buy your product. It's not going to make people support what you're doing. Yeah, they'll look at you, but for instance, rapping on Instagram, the guys that you see just rapping on Instagram consistently, rapping, no real music out, you know what that does? It makes you a jukebox. It makes you a free jukebox that people tune in to just look at for free. It's all the same thing. It's like if you're not focused on the music and selling the music and marketing the music, nothing else matters because it's all fake. And like you said, if you can't sell out a venue or if you're not making a living off your music, it's clear that you're not really popping. So no matter how many followers you got, if you got 50,000, 100,000, you should be making a living off your music at that point.
Yep. In terms of
what are your thoughts about this streaming? Do you think that streaming is robbing the artist?
Nope. I say something that's controversial to a lot of people. First of all, I feel like when it comes to streaming, people are not thinking. Imagine me coming into your house and I say, hey, man, I don't like how you run in your house. I don't like how you talk to your kids. I don't like how you talk to your woman. What would you say to me?
Hold on. Yeah, I mean, that's true.
Hello?
That's true.
No, I'm asking y'all a question. Like I'm asking y'all a question right now. So if I came into y'all cribs and the first thing I said to y'all is, yo, I don't like how y'all decorated. I don't like nothing in your crib. What would y'all say to me? What would the response be?
No. No.
Okay.
No. 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 I mean, in the fact,
Hello?
Yeah, I'm trying to get my connection back. Yo, you there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah. Yeah, but you're right. And the thing is that people, the thing is what you have going on is what you have going on. I don't think anybody would like the idea of people trying to arbitrarily say who've not been in your position how you should play your position.
Exactly.
You know what I'm saying? And when you look at the game, RJ, in terms of how the music industry is set up now, from how artists are paid and how it's distributed, like King said, in terms of streaming and other aspects, what do you feel in terms of what needs to change? What do you feel pretty much needs to stay the same? And how can artists really broaden their scope in terms of getting their music distributed to the wider masses?
I think you got booted.
Okay, we're gonna wait for the call back in.
We was having a little technical difficulties here. I had to switch and get it, put it back on record. So for some reason I couldn't hear none. I had to pretty much switch my connection back. So hopefully he'll call back.
Okay.
A lot of gems, man.
Man, absolutely. And what he said, man, about being a jukebox, that's deep. Because a lot of times, people, it's funny, King, because when we see people get out there online, one thing is we love people getting out there and showing their talent to the world. We're blessed to do that with this show in terms of being able to talk to so many and to have an audience that we reach. So we're not knocking people for getting out there rapping and doing it, but the thing is, what is your game in terms of the end game of it? What is your goal? And a lot of these artists out here, it's like, you're dope. You may have the dopest freestyle, but where does it take you? Is it really going to be something that carries you to that next level? You and me have had this talk in private. We've had it all on the show. A lot of these artists, if they feel like they can make it big at a certain level, whether in their hometown or they want to be, go viral, they're okay with it as long as they get a level of celebrity. Because being known doesn't cost anything. It's when you actually get paid is when the work comes.
Absolutely. Scott. When you start doing this thing and you start really seeing commerce, that's where you got to be on your A game when it comes to the business aspect.
Well,
then you can have to put one product.
Yes. And the thing is, you got to have something people want to buy. And that's always a hard part in terms of being able to sell it. But the good, like they say on the block, good dope sells itself. And if you really got something moving in an aspect that your music is good, it's not going to be hard for you to do shows. It's not going to be hard for you to move your music once people really, really develop a listening relationship with you, they rock with you.
Right.
But people have to understand this too. You have to be good at what you do. And you can't necessarily take this as in your mind because you think you're great. Confidence is one thing, but your music has to translate to a listening audience where they think you're pretty dope as well. And we see this trap that a lot of local artists fall into. And we mean local from wherever they're at. Some of them, depending where you're from, they're really able to make a move. Like places like L.A., Atlanta, New York, they have huge infrastructure in terms of hood, market, entertainment that's already there. So for a lot of them, they don't necessarily have to be concerned about going national because they're in a city, they're in an area that already facilitates it. Rest in peace to the late, great Nipsey Hussle. I heard he was doing shows in L.A. for like 50,000. And this is before he had an album out. But Nipsey had already built his buzz. He was already big in the city. But for a lot of artists out here, they're not going to be able to do that. And the only way that they're really going to get paid, if that's their goal, they got to get their music outside of the area they're in. And that's where, for some of them, it's like being in a college football landscape. You're good in your conference, but you got to go outside your conference and play all the big boys. And the thing is, can you play on the same level they play on?
Big facts. Big facts, man. So this is what we're going to do. What we're going to do is we're going to play the joint he did with Busta Rhymes called Get the F Back. And if he doesn't come back through the connection issues and stuff, but things happen on the air sometimes.
Absolutely.
Thank you for the contributions. And big shout out to Coach Kadaka for making this happen, man. We definitely going to be doing some more work we're definitely going to be doing some more work together. So anytime you have any artists that you want to bring on, just let us know at Off the Cuff Radio, Screwball Radio. We'll make it happen. So what we're going to do is this. We're going to play the joint he did with Busta Rhymes, and if he calls back, we're going to go back on the air. If not, we're going to let it rock, and we're going to get back with y'all next week.
Absolutely. Let's get it. Go ahead, drop it, King.
It's Payne. Got Busta Rhymes in this motherfucker. Leatherface. P.A. Dre on the beat. Back. My nigga, this is bustin' Payne. We done ran through the fire just to jump in the flames, you heard? All these suckers done corrupted the game. In other words, stay the fuck in your lane and get the fuck back. Nigga, this is bustin' Payne. We done ran through the fire just to jump in the flames, you heard? All these suckers done corrupted the game. In other words, stay the fuck in your lane, ain't nothing changed. With this reminder, bitch, I'm hot, I'm like Pac or a Biggie kinda. 69er, blicky licking both ways. I split vaginas, Ricky Steiner, shit, the big dog barking. I bit a minor, he the clapper. I just might eat a rapper, then hit the diner. This the lineup, all these rappers, they running to get designer. This the time to make 100-foot tunnel and dig the China. Big recliner, got my feet out chillin'. I pick the wine up while I'm breaking down the buds. Too heavy to fit the grinder. Get my binder, I cook up in 10 minutes. Hit the timer, heavy punches, bitch, I black both eyes. Pick a shiner, the definer, niggas big time capping. They with the Shriners, full of shit, cool. I blow out your brains and fix your sinus. I'm not the nigga to be played with. Glock, I hit him till his leg twitch. Chopper bigger than a slave ship. Hospital with a grave shit. Hot pistol for the facelift. I drop a missile, I fillet shit. Blood leaking down the sidewalk like a popsicle on the pavement. You see my pen is hot, I spin the block with two hammers pointed in the air, look like it's 10 o'clock. The guard is sick, the bar's hard as shit. That's a cinder block. You shoot at me, bitch, I'ma throw them back like they ginger shot. Dominant, I ain't slowing down and ain't no sign of it. Be careful with the rhymes or you might get your baby mama hit. In other words, I'm not the one you want a problem with. That's me or my conglomerates. Get the fuck back. My nigga, this is bustin' Payne. We done ran through the fire just to jump in the flames, you heard? All these suckers done corrupted the game. In other words, stay the fuck in your lane and get the fuck back. Nigga, this is bustin' Payne. We done ran through the fire just to jump in the flames, you heard? All these suckers done corrupted the game. In other words, stay the fuck in your lane, ain't nothing changed.
Let's keep it simple, bitch, you know that I sizzle. Send smoking signals, yo, he dribble like he loose in his head. And the flow be sinful, so uncivil. How I flattened your tires and broke your windows with these bars that quickly snot nose your bitch and give it a sniffle. So official, fuck you niggas up till the rep blow the whistle. Launch a missile that'll Harlem shake niggas and make them wiggle. Wait, I giggle when I see your reaction. With folks I mingle with, in fact, you better act right and keep your head on a swivel, bitch. I'm black. Could give a fuck about them symbols or them funny signs you throw up. I'll smack your face with a cymbal from a drum set. Leaving you niggas crippled while I sprinkle poison on niggas that'll lead to dismissals. Niggas in the back, get up in the front, hit him and I kill on every track. What a nigga want, give me your money, put it in the vault. Nigga really think this shit is funny, bring it to a halt. Yes, and I be fucking every beat up, let a nigga walk. Before we let you down and like you win a little bit of job. Look, you better shut your fucking mouth and let a nigga talk. Let a nigga talk.
Get the fuck back. My nigga, this is bustin' Payne. We done ran through the fire just to jump in the flames, you heard? All these suckers done corrupted the game. In other words, stay the fuck in your lane and get the fuck back. Nigga, this is bustin' Payne. We done ran through the fire just to jump in the flames, you heard? All these suckers done corrupted the game. In other words, stay the fuck in your lane, ain't nothing changed.
Life moves fast, and accidents happen. Duke offers same-day and next-day appointments at locations near you. We can get you back on your feet faster, so you can get back to the things you love. Make your appointment at dukehealth.org today.
With Lucky Land Slots, you can get lucky just about anywhere.
Dearly beloved, we are gathered here today to... Has anyone seen the bride and groom?
Sorry, we're here. We were getting lucky in the limo and we lost track of time.
No, Lucky Land Casino, with cash prizes that add up quicker than a guest registry.
In that case, I pronounce you lucky.
Play for free at LuckyLandSlots.com. Daily bonuses are waiting. No purchase necessary. Void where prohibited by law. 18+. Terms and conditions apply. See website for details.